วัสดีครับคุณมาเรียเดลมาคาเรโร from Spain. Today is very nice to talking to you and to interview you about the two main topic for us. First is the value and next one is the communication style. Okay. So the first one, what is the most important thing to your life? Why and where does it come from?
I think the most important thing in my life is my family and my friends.
Your friends.
Yes.
Love.
In general.
So Spanish people like tend to live with family.
Yeah, the family is very important and I'm very far away from them. But normally in Spain it's normal that you stay close to them in the same city or even in the same house until you are 30. So most of my friends they live in the same city and my whole family live in the same city.
So you have homesick.
Yeah. And the only one is so far away.
Wow. But now you kind of get familiar to it. Because you have been here in Bangkok in Thailand for 3 years
already. But I talk to my mother every day. She needs to know every day if I'm fine, yes. I cannot talk to her like once a month.
Yes. Wow, that's amazing. So what does value mean to you?
A value is something that you think is important, like a human quality, in a way. Something that for people are important and that make us together, something like that.
Something that affect you like culturally? That make a change. Okay, so next, how can value control Spanish people? Like, do you have to stand in front of the flag and say something and sing the national anthem every morning, like just like Thailand, you know, at 8 o'clock we have to do it?
I think in Spain in general people are, depends on the area, but in general people love their country, except the north that they want to be independent. But we don't have a nice relationship with the flag because it's very connected to the dictatorship that it was 30 years ago. So people don't like the flag because they think it's a little bit nationalistic. So normally we don't like it. If you have it, it means you are very conservative. So it's not right, it's not good. And the anthem, the same thing. You only can see flags in the anthem in sports. It's the only moment that people kind of like support. If not, it's not good. Like if you have a flag, it means you are very, very conservative.
So how about the Catalan?
The Catalan normally they don't like it. They even burn flags sometimes.
Oh, they are like super...
Because they don't want to be part of Spain. Catalonia, Basque Country, and Galicia, with as well, north of Portugal. The rest of the country is okay. Like normally we want to belong to Spain, but we don't have this. It's not the same that in Thailand. It's like sometimes people are not so proud of the flag.
Okay, wow, that's very interesting. And how do Spanish values change over time?
I think it has changed a lot since the dictatorship to now. During the dictatorship, that it ends in 1978, people were very, very conservative. Like everyone went to church every Sunday and you couldn't wear some clothes, everything has to be always like very covered, all the women have to be covered. And the wedding, all of these was very, very traditional, and in 30 years it changed a lot. Now it's very modern and very liberal. But normally the old generations, like my parents and my grandparents, are still very conservative.
And you told us in class that like the way that people dress like changed a lot. Like when you went back to Spain and people like dress like shorter and shorter. Like same everywhere.
Same.
Okay, so next, do you prefer working alone or in group, and why?
It depends on the group, but if the group works right, I prefer to work in a team.
Because like, save your time and you can share
ideas. Yeah, like for instance, my department, I like working with the other Spanish teachers.
And do people in your culture tend to save or spend money? And
I
why?
think in general we spend money a
Spend
lot.
money, but-
Yeah, kind of like in Spain it's very important to enjoy your life.
Enjoy your life.
So it's very important to go out with friends and have
Party,
fun.
have
Even
fun.
with the crisis, now with the crisis people are more worried about money.
More economical.
Yeah. And in general we don't save that much, but normally we buy houses. We don't like renting, so most of the people they try to buy the house. So sometimes we save money to buy a house.
Like
They are very
all the
expensive.
necessity basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And if you were a parent, so what is the main reason of buying a gift or present for your child, and why?
I would buy a present if it's a celebration, like birthday, something like that.
Like, because for example, like in our example in class, like Chinese, Asian buy that for like the future needs, like for financial and for their education, but American tend to buy for their kids for to be loved. They want their kid to love them.
Okay.
Yes, that.
Yeah, I think in general we buy something that we think the child is going to enjoy, not thinking in the future. For thinking in the future is not a present, it's like we try that our children are educated and they go to school, but you don't give that as a present, it's more like the responsibility. But if you give a present, it's for them to enjoy now.
Right. Okay. So next, is there any equality among gender in Spain?
I think it's changing a lot. It's the same reason that everything, like all generations is still very different. Like if we have a dinner party, my mother and my aunt clean everything and all the men in the family just stay. But new generations now we share tasks. Yeah, so it's supposed to be, especially people who go to the university. The ones that they don't, sometimes it's still a little bit different. Like the women has to do everything.
But
we need to do everything. They're working outside and also working at home. But people who went to university is different. Like normally we share. And someone does this and the other person does that and we just share. But in different jobs, I don't think it's still equal. Like if you go to a big company, most of the big responsibility jobs, administration, kind of like the president is going to be a man, and then the secretary is going to be a woman. So it's still
like same.
Same. Yeah, it's changing, but it's still they are like the president of the country is a man. We haven't had a woman ever. There are some positions that is still changing. But
So that is kind of the answer of the number 9. Yeah. Do Spanish people compete highly in terms of working environment and education? Like as you said, like more men have the higher position.
yeah, in general. And competition is not that important. It's kind of like people in Spain want to have a good job, but they want to enjoy life as well. So if having a better job means working many hours, I think in general most of the people prefer to have a job that you can also have time for your family and your friends. And yeah. So we are not very competitive, I think.
I think that's good. No, not everything not too serious. Yeah, like here in Bangkok. Okay, so how is the relationship between student and teacher in Spain, and how do they act in order to support and against one another?
I think the relationship is normally close. Like for instance, we always call the teachers by their name or even the nicknames. And it's not, you have to respect them, but they are not more important than you are. It's kind of like everyone is equal. So you don't think that your teacher is more important than you. It's just your teacher and you're learning from them. But it's kind of like the idea is that the teacher also learns from the students. So it's not And sometimes we also have problems with respect. Because people in Spain are very noisy and we always talk a lot and we're very active. So when you have a class with 20-something students, normally the respect is a problem. It's a problem. But at the same time, it's a very close relationship.
Okay, and how do Spanish teachers teach their student? Like, do you have any discussion during the class or just academic actually?
It's changing, but it depends. Like this school, high school, or university.
Like each of them, like high school and university.
Okay. In high school, you debate a lot more. And for instance, in mine, we were always talking about. Normally, the teacher talks, but you can always ask or say, "I don't agree with that." But in the university, there are so many students in the same classroom that is more lecture orientated. But now it's changing a little bit. They want more like groups and debates, but it's still
the new trend.
This is the new trend. Yeah.
Okay. And the last question for this section: are teachers allowed to say "I don't know"?
Yeah.
Or expect to know all the answers?
It is possible to say "I don't know." Normally, you cannot just say "I don't know." You need to say "I don't know. I'm going to look for the answer, and I will let you know another day." But you don't have to know everything.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, are you ready for the second part?
I'm ready.
Okay. It's about all the communication style. Okay. The first one is very interesting question. Do you think are there any differences in between Thai and Spanish communication style?
Yes. First thing, we touch each other a lot more. So like from the beginning, when you say hi, like we did before, we are already kissing the person. That makes you closer. So our way of talking many times is close. And the distance is also closer. From the beginning, and it doesn't matter if you are a girl and a boy, or two girls or two boys. Normally it's much closer. From the first conversation, we feel that you connect and you are like a friend already. And we express a lot more with our hands. And expressing your feelings is good. It's not bad. So we are not, when we are little, we are not supposed to shout or be loud, but we are sometimes. But the rest of the feelings, if you cry in public, is fine. If you love someone in public and you want to say I love you, it's fine. It's kind of like you can express yourself the whole time. And I think that's very different.
It's very different. Because in Thailand we have like so many rules and regulations in public.
Yeah, with politeness. For us, being polite is just being like nice. But you don't have to be formal. We're not very formal either. Like comparing to England, British are much more formal in the way of talking. In Spain, for instance, in England they say, would you mind to do this? In Spain, we just say, do it, please, and that's fine. Por favor, and that's fine. So we are not very formal in our way, but we are nice, I think, but very expressive as well.
That's good. Have you ever experienced any miscommunication with people from different countries? How, and would you mind giving me some example?
Yes, I have. For culture, because for language as well. But because of the culture, once I was in a hotel and they wanted me to change rooms. And instead of saying, can you change your room, they told me, it's very big for you. And I was, no, it's fine. The second day, I think it's very big for you. No, it's okay, I'm okay. Until I found out that they wanted me to move to another room. And in Spain, they would just have said, please, can you move? And that's fine. So I couldn't really understand what the person wanted me to do because it wasn't direct. We are very straightforward. Like if you want someone to do something, we just tell them. And I'm not used to, or sometimes here, I misunderstand when you ask something and instead of saying no, they say, yeah, but, and it means no, but for me, no is no.
No is no.
If you say yes, it's yes. Even if now I'm trying to understand, or sometimes like smiling here, it means something different. In Spain you smile because you are happy. Here sometimes people smile because they are uncomfortable, because they don't understand you, because they don't speak English and they feel a little bit embarrassed. Yeah, so that now I'm getting used to. But at the beginning it was hard to understand.
Like sometimes the foreigner like become angrier, but Thai people keep smiling.
Smiling. For us it's quite like, I'm angry, don't smile anymore.
Yes.
But I think for me now it's easier, but sometimes if I have a problem, I prefer people tell me like, this is my point of view. I think it's clear. But we are very honest normally. And I think here sometimes it's more important to be nice than to be honest. So sometimes I have problems understanding what the person really wants to say. What do they mean?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is about sarcasm. How do Spanish people express their sarcasm? Could you give me some example?
I think we're making jokes all the time with your friends. Like many times we're saying something that is supposed to be not nice about someone, just to laugh about that.
But you guys know like automatically that it's sarcasm, right? But do you like supposed to say sarcasm with the elders?
Yeah, no problem.
No problem.
Yes, you can do it with anyone. In Spain, and that's something that is very different with Thailand, everyone is the same.
Yes.
So a person who is older than you is not more important than you, is just older. You have to respect them, for sure. Like if it's a grandfather, grandmother, of course you have to respect them, but you can play around with them, you can make jokes, you can say something that is not supposed to be nice, but just to be funny. Yeah, with anyone, with a teacher, with your boss. It's very normal in Spain that colleagues from work and the boss can go for beers after work, and that's fine. When they are in the work situation, you have to talk seriously, but not always. But if you are outside the office, it's another person, it's the same than you. And it's always like that with your parents as well. Your parents are your parents, you have to respect them, but they are not more important than you are. So you can always play a little bit with them.
That's so nice. Okay, do Spanish people use like soft or loud tone of voice to convey
Loud.
emotion?
Loud.
Really loud, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
We are very loud and we
happy.
talk all at the same time. And we interrupt each other a lot also.
Okay, so the question number 6, so Spanish people use body language and gesture.
Yeah.
Like how, like
With everything, it's kind of like, if you see, one day I went here to a Spanish dinner, and it was very easy to pick who was Spanish, because if they were Thai, or sometimes also like American, all of this, they were more like this and talking. If the person is Spanish, we are never like this. We're always talking like this.
okay.
So if you are saying that I went to a house, and then there were a lot of people, and this, and if you're angry, and we are always using
facial
that
expression as well.
as well.
Okay, so it's clear that you express emotion.
Yeah, if a Spanish person is sad, it's easy to see it. If we're happy, it's easy. If we're angry, it's very easy. We don't cover our feelings normally. It depends on the person. There are also shy people, but most of the times we express what we feel.
So Spanish people tend to have like no secret.
No, we do have secrets, but the feeling part, yeah, it's easy to see how the person feels.
Okay. Do Spanish people signalize when you want to speak in group discussion? Is it
I
important?
don't understand that question.
Like when you want for example, in a group of 5 people, like in the meeting, when you want to take turn, that okay, I want to express something, like can you just shout and say?
Yeah. If the group is just Spanish, normally we just interrupt, and that is rude for other cultures, and we do it many times without even realizing. And you have to do it, if not you don't talk.
Oh, okay.
So like if you're in a meeting with the Spanish people, normally everyone is going to be talking a lot, and then when you want to participate, you just kind of like do a gesture like this and talk.
So when you like with another friend from different culture, you have like to adapt and wait for your turn.
Yeah, but sometimes if it's an argument and you're very passionate about what you're saying, we still do it most of the times. And normally it's something that is not very nice for other cultures.
It's okay sometimes, but it is not like too formal.
Yeah,
yes.
And it depends. There are also like, this is generalizing. There are people that are very polite in Spain as well, and they wait. There are people that they don't talk much as well. But in general, if you are in a dinner table and everyone is Spanish, if you want to talk, you have to talk. You cannot just wait until everyone is quiet, because that moment is not going to happen. So if you don't just talk, you're not going to speak for the whole night.
That's true when I was in Spain. Okay, so next is, what will you reply to show, in order to show your politeness when someone offer you something?
Thank you.
Like what if you don't want it, like
I will still say thank you and take it.
And take it.
Yeah. Oh. It's rude to give a person back, or to give something back is rude. It's not. Even if you don't like it, if it's a very, very close friend or my family, if they give me a present and I don't like it, maybe I can say, I don't like it, take it back, and then change it. But normally, you just keep it.
Keep it. Like same situation in a restaurant as well.
If they want to invite you or something.
Yes. When like somebody want to offer you a glass of wine, for example,
you take it.
Accept it.
Yeah, you have to accept it most of the times. Even if you don't, even like for instance going to a friend's house, you always offer something to drink. It's rude if you don't drink anything. At least you have to say a glass of water, but you cannot just say I don't want anything. Normally you accept something.
Show your
And we are very insistent. Like if you go to a friend's house, they are going to say, do you want something to eat? And then they will take it and put it on the table. So most of the times, even if you don't want, you have to eat a little bit and drink.
Show your respect.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you oppose to the idea that of someone you just met in your culture? If so, how strongly? Like,
can you give me an example?
When you, for example, if you just know me and like in Spain, and can you like oppose?
Yes, from the very first day. I have arguments about politics, religion, love, any kind of topic from the very first day is possible. It depends on the person. There are people that they don't like it, but most of the Spanish, you can just talk, oppose ideas, be like complete opposite, and then be friends, no problem. It's possible. And I have had like arguments about religion, politics, first day that I met someone.
Wow, really?
It's possible.
How about Thailand? What do you think?
I don't think it's possible.
Yes.
And especially, it depends on the topic, but I don't think it is possible. In Spain we talk about everything that is supposed to be a taboo. It's fine. You can talk about religion, you can talk about politics, sex, anything is fine.
So, freedom expression in Spain.
With respect, of course.
With respect.
That's very important. Like you can have opposite ideas, but you need to respect and be tolerant. If you are not, then it can be serious. But if both show respect in the way of saying what you think, I don't think it has to be any problem.
Okay. Wow, that's very interesting. In your culture, are there any different levels of words like used when someone you talk to? For example, like to the elder, to the monks, to the loyal family?
No. We talk in the same way. We just have like formal language and informal language, but that more than with elders, it depends on the situation. Like if it's conference, you cannot talk in the same way that if you're with your friends in a bar. But it's not just the words, it's just like the whole language is a little bit different because it's formal and informal. But if you are in a bar with your family and you have like your mother, your grandfather, it's fine, you still use the informal language.
For example, like we just did on Tuesday, right? The expression, some expression, you don't use it like all the time. Like you cannot use it in academic paper.
Especially if it's writing. If you write a paper, then you cannot use colloquial slang. But when you are talking, we use them a lot. If it's a formal situation, then it's not possible, but there are not so many formal situations in Spain. So normally, it's just like if it's a job interview, I wouldn't talk with slang, or if it's a conference. But after the conference, when you go to have dinner with the people from the conference, and then you have drinks, then you can talk again in the colloquial way.
So everyone like very expressive.
Yeah. And very informal in general. We are very like laid back.
No, not really. Okay. What is considered as an appropriate topic when you talk to somebody you first met? And what is considered inappropriate? You say that you can say everything, but what is?
I think what is inappropriate in general is your personal life. You cannot really talk about private things in the first conversation. You cannot ask. If the person wants to talk, that's okay. But you cannot ask, are you married? How much money do you earn every month? Money is not very appropriate in general at the beginning.
What about the physical appearance as well?
Physical appearance, if you are going to say something nice, it's okay. If it's something bad, don't say it.
Never.
Never at the beginning. Even when they are your friends, you have to be very careful with the way of saying something bad to someone, especially about the appearance. But yeah, it's more private life, I think, is what is not appropriate. Until it's natural. Normally you don't ask, do you have a boyfriend? The person tells you, oh yeah, because the other day my boyfriend told me this. So then you already know. But asking personal questions is not very appropriate.
How about the age?
Age, it depends on the age of the person. If the person is young, then it's fine. If the person is over 40, 50, I would say, then I wouldn't ask.
Okay. So, next, what should be said directly and what should be implied? Do you understand the question?
No.
Like, I think you have already answered to this question. Like, when the receptionist want you to change the room, like they didn't say.
Okay. Yeah. These things normally, I think we are very direct in general. So if you need to say something bad to someone, you know you're going to hurt them, or you know they are not going to like it, you still say it in a nice way. You don't say it, we are very like nice, or you may make a joke about that, or kind of like give another option, but we still say it.
Have
normally.
you ever implied in any situation before?
I think in general we are very straightforward.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
So when you want is you just say.
Yeah, you say what you want, you say what you don't want, and that's it.
Okay. And last but not least, when someone interrupts during the conversation, do you consider that he or she is rude, or he or she want to show their interest?
Show interest
Show
in Spain.
interest.
Yeah, for sure. If you are quiet the whole time in a conversation, it means you're bored, kind of. So people talk a lot.
How about in Thailand, like with your students?
I think it will be rude.
Rude.
Yeah. And it's very like, for instance, a class of Thai students and a class of Spanish are completely different. In Spanish, you have to be the whole time try to make them quiet and stop, don't move around. With Thais, it's the opposite. What you want them is to be active.
Yes.
Sometimes I had classes that you ask something and no one answers. Or you want them to ask, and many classes there are no students who ask
But our
questions.
class is okay, right?
Yeah, your class you talk a
Lot too much.
but you're already like a little bit of Spanish.
Spanish,
in
like
the way
we
of talking.
always
You
participate.
interact with each other, you participate a lot,
Mm.
you're talking at the same time, you are like moving around. So I think it looks a lot like a
Picnic,
Spanish
like, you know,
person.
very Spanish lifestyle
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, I don't know if it was because of me that I encouraged that kind of behavior.
You influence us.
Or you are like this, and this is why you are learning Spanish, because you feel
love
attracted to the
this way.
culture. Have no idea, but it works.
Wow. Okay, so that's amazing. It's pleasure talking to you, and we definitely will use this information, and this is very useful.
Okay.
So
And
thank you so much.
welcome.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
De nada.
Tengas un buen día.
Y tú también.
Hasta mañana.